Every morning, we actually say our purpose statement together and we go over it and have a discussion of how our day might look each day and how we can follow that purpose. I actually revert back to it quite a bit. We have a discussion at the end of every day and make sure that we are hitting it. And then I also have a brag note card that goes home on the weekends. And so it has like some of the points of what we're working on for the statement. And so I always tell them I'm looking for people who are following our second grade purpose.
And then I always put them up here on their daily slide so that we can reference them each day when we're working. So what that usually looks like, the first sentence of our A&R class is, the purpose of the automation and robotics class is to learn about robots and how to build things. So each day when we're switching topics, I'll usually reference the statement and then ask the kids, do you think we're more on the learning about robot side or more on the learning how to build things side? So it gets them to think a little bit about, like, oh, we're doing programming today, so that's probably more on the learning rather than the building. Or, oh, we're learning about mechanisms today, so we're probably going to be doing more of the building than the learning about robots.
As a whole is to be kind people and to treat others the way you need to be treated. A lot of the things in my purpose statement that my kids came up with are about, being respectful to others and property and being responsible for yourself, which includes owning your own mistakes, treating others with kindness. And then the one that they came up with that I was really proud of was perseverance, where, even when things get hard, you have to keep trying. And so these are things that I bring up on a daily basis, especially when my students are struggling. Remember, we promise to continue to try even when things are hard, even if you don't get them right. We promise to be respectful toward others. That means making kind comments. It's something that we talk about all day long in here.
And then we refer to it, particularly as we get into more challenging things, to kind of help redirect ourselves and to get us back on the right track for future success.
By having them kind of connect with the purpose of the class, it, one, reminds them of what they said, and then two, starts to put them in the right mind space for the skills they're going to need to be successful in that day. For the second part, the what do we need to do in order to achieve the outcome, it serves as some good reminders of, you wanted me to include pass the class and have fun. So I usually put an emphasis on the fun part, because depending on choices they make, it could be very explicit instruction teacher guided, or it could be very discovery based student led. But I kind of give them the choice in, if you want to have the fun built in, you need to make sure you are listening, focusing, and working together well. So kind of just using their own words in a positive way against them to make sure you follow the expectations, you can achieve the outcomes you said while also having fun.
Making sure, like, one of our big words is respect. So I always try to come back to it and make sure that we are working together, having that respect. And if we're not, then we revisit it and we talk about how are ways we can show that respect, or how are those ways we can help with learning and making the environment fun in second
My
grade.
class periods that unfortunately made some choices where they showed they were not in the right mindset to handle the autonomy, handle the freedom of kind of student-led purely. So we had to back things down to be much more step-by-step, teacher-directed, kind of direct instruction method. And the next day I came in and asked them, yesterday, did that feel very fun for you? And naturally they all said, no, it was not very fun. I was like, okay, so if we want to get back to this outcome, we need to do these things. And then each class kind of starts going through, what are some of the specific components of class that we need to do better at, we need to improve on, just so we can make sure we get back to the fun while also doing the learning.
The more I bring up the class promise, then the more that they're becoming aware, and then they haven't done this yet because we're not too far into the year, but eventually they will start referring to it theirself, and they will even tell their classmates you know, oh, thank you for helping me. And sometimes they'll even say, Mrs. Y, they helped me. That's the class promise. You should give them a
It
token.
goes with that brag postcard that I send home. I check off little parts, and then I also write on it that they have maybe been chosen because they were following our second grade purpose statement for the week. So they do get a communication of it. I'm starting to put it on my newsletter monthly so that they can see it as well and kind of have those conversations with their kids at home.
You just write the purpose statement on a paper, and then I will sometimes send that home with kiddos, and I might just circle, you know, promise number 2, helping others. I might circle that and then write a little note about, you know, so-and-so is doing an awesome job at being a good helper. Or I can also use it as I might circle one and say, okay, your child is kind of struggling with this piece, and then I just send it home in their folder.
My objectives for you by the end of the class is you can say, I can use loops to program on an autonomous robot, and I can use sensors when programming an autonomous robot. So within our purpose statement, that first sentence, learn about robots or learn how to build things. Which side do you think we're on today? Have that 30-second conversation with your partners. Learn about robots or how to build things. Which side are we on today? If you think we're on the learn about robots side. Okay. Raise your hand if you think we're on the learn how to build things side. Okay. Kind of today, luckily, we're at the good combination of both. We were a little bit heavier on the learn about robots side. Why did you think we fell on the learning side today? What was your thought?
Because we kind of like did that yesterday, and we might review or go over it on like what we learned about yesterday.
Good. I like it. When we're getting into the coding and the programming, we're kind of still learning about the language they use. How do we communicate with the robot what we want it to do? So we're definitely heavy on the learn side today. Learn how to communicate it with it, learn how to program it, so that the next step is we get the programs down, we see what it does in the virtual world, then we will go to the building and see, does that actually translate to reality, or what other issues will we need to troubleshoot?
I promise to work my hardest to 1, listen with my eyes watching, ears on, and voice off. 2, help others. 3, treat others with kindness. 4, not turn little problems into big problems. And 5, help everyone have a great day.